Over the next several days following Ryoji's departure, the dorm falls eerily silent as the members of 3's attempt to grapple with the horrifying reality of their situation. And after a painfully long and reluctant week, 3's finally makes an effort to sit down together and discuss the ultimatum that they've been given. They can either A, kill Ryoji and lose all of their memories of 3's in the Dark Hour, living in blissful ignorance until the day of the fall, or B, spare him and keep their memories intact, but at the cost of living each and every one of their remaining days frozen with fear in anticipation of Nyx's arrival. It's an incredibly harrowing and isolating decision to have to make, and upon further discussion, it seems that none of them have really been able to come to a conclusion yet, with things at one point even escalating into a fight between Junpei and Makoto. But to top it all off, you as the player are the one who ultimately has to make the decision, seeing as Makoto is the only one who can kill Ryoji, making this one of the most stressful parts of the entire game if you don't already have a hint as to which choice you're supposed to make. And while everyone else eventually comes to a largely unanimous decision, serving as a way for the game to sort of nudge you in the right direction, when the 31st eventually arrives and Ryoji makes his return, the final decision is left entirely up to you.
Are you still thinking? Or have you already made up your mind? I guess my words didn't change your mind. There's still some time until midnight. I didn't want to have to show you this, but I have no choice.
See? I'm not human. I will bring death to this world until I am finally satiated. Do not hesitate to kill me. I want you to think about this carefully. Is facing Nyx really the best decision? Right now, you are all confused by the truth. But some things in this world cannot be changed. You do not understand this yet. Memories are ambiguous. Old ones can be replaced with new ones, creating a new reality. Don't you want to end all your friends' pain and suffering? It's up to you. You're the only one who can make this decision. Now, this is your last chance. Tell me your answer.
To forget death, or to remember it. To wake up one day and find yourself in a doomed world with not a single hope for salvation. It's at this point in which the game decides to drop all notions of character bias or right and wrong answers and simply ask you, the player, what would you choose?
So, you understand. I think that looking to the future is a great way to live, but that doesn't mean that other ways of living are wrong. No one knows which road leads to happiness. I'm glad I met you. This must be what it means to feel happy. Thanks for everything.
Upon taking Ryoji's life, the game fast forward to March and all of the characters are back to their normal lives. No Dark Hour, no personas, just ordinary high school lives. And although everyone is evidently much happier and more carefree than before, something just feels off. Characters like Akihiko, Mitsuru, and Aigis have all become strangers to our main trio, with Aigis heartbreakingly being the only one who remembers everything. Alas, time marches on, and Makoto, Junpei, and Yukari are all attending graduation, where they blissfully chat amongst one another about their plans for the future, or rather, lack thereof, spouting lazy, cynical rhetoric that just sounds so wrong coming from them, because in a sense, by you, the player, choosing to erase all of their memories, they've completely regressed as characters and are all the way back at square one. It's beyond painful to watch, but at the same time, so conflicting because ultimately, they are happy, aren't they? And following a heartfelt but largely false speech given by Mitsuru regarding the death of her father, the graduation ceremony comes to a close, Junpei invites the others out to a night of karaoke, and the game quietly ends. The credits roll, and a cutscene that follows shows everybody going about their lives and hanging out with each other, but not really appearing to be present or indulgent of each other's company in any meaningful way. And upon one last freeze frame, we're only left to assume that, as promised, Nyx eventually awakens, the fall occurs, and everyone dies instantaneously. No pain, no suffering, just gone. This is Persona 3's first possible ending, and it's referred to as the bad one for a reason. If we think back to the very first part of this analysis, then you'll remember that before we dug into any of the story beats, characters, or ideas present within Persona 3, we established a particular phrase that serves as the very foundation upon which the game's primary theme is built. A phrase that the game makes firmly known as early as the very first opening cutscene. Memento Mori. Remember death. And to kill Ryoji is to forget death, a decision that takes you in an entirely opposite direction from where the story's core message is trying to lead you. But what I absolutely love about the execution of this alternate ending is that, while it's pretty obviously the incorrect decision within the context of Persona 3's story specifically, it's not handled in a way that paints it as necessarily being wrong in the grander scheme of things. The game doesn't really judge you for choosing such an ending, and even takes care to pretty thoroughly explore how the opposing way of thinking might just be right in a lot of regards. There's nothing inherently wrong with choosing to prioritize happiness above all else. And while the context and climate of this particular story might say otherwise, the game frequently uses Ryoji's perspective to balance things out and communicate to you that no matter what you end up picking, your choice is valid. And I love this because it's a very clear instance of the game's writers being able to shed their hubris when necessary and concede that, at the end of the day, this game's lofty messages about life and death are just their own interpretations, and that just because they may think one thing doesn't mean that other ways of thinking are inherently wrong. As Ryoji says, no one really knows which road leads to happiness. It's all subjective in the end, and this alternate ending serves as a perfect, albeit somewhat somber reminder of that fact. But what if you don't forget? What if you choose to hold on to the truth and remember it, no matter what? Persona 3's second and true ending is letting Ryoji live. And by the time the ultimatum finally presents itself, the game has made it pretty obvious that this is the one that it thinks you should choose. But even still, the beauty of it is that if Persona 3's story up until this point is one that has resonated with you on any level whatsoever, and chances are it likely has, then the correct decision might just have been totally obvious from the very start. Memento Mori. May you never forget.